It's Ross from Retro Dream Beam. We are shipping out stuff today and Friday. We had a really big sale. I'm super appreciative of it. We're going to get to it in order. I had to write down everything in order, so we will get to the big sale, but I was super excited about it, so it was crazy. All right, so the first thing is going to be some WoW TCG cards. So these right here, the points are already used up, and I don't think you can use these points anymore. These were the WoW trading card games. Sorry, I have to turn this off real quick to make sure it's not messing with the microphone. But yeah, these would come in booster packs. You would get all of the actual cards, like a rare, maybe a foil, some uncommons and commons, and they would come in with like these little token cards, which end up being crafting materials, which were similar to like crafting materials you would actually get in the World of Warcraft online game. And there would also be like a code where you can get some points and turn them in for stuff. So I always thought it was cool when card games would do these extra little extras, that people could like turn in stuff, collect some points. And then there were also cards in the World of Warcraft trading card game that had a scratch off, that you scratch it off and you can redeem online stuff actually in your game. Those I believe still work, but yeah, I don't think these work anymore. I'm not sure. Also, there's a website where you can trade in these crafting materials, so I'm not sure how that worked. I'm assuming it was another way to get more products. So it's just giving you reasons to buy individual booster packs when you're in a store or something, just because you're also building up towards something else. I also just thought it was cool that they have like cards for the crafting materials in the game. I played a bunch of World of Warcraft like day one for a couple years when it like first came out, so like I was a day oneer, so some of this stuff is nostalgic for me. But yeah, these 4 cards sold for $7, which is awesome because those are just like little extras inside of packs and stuff. All right, moving along, we have some Dixon miniatures. That was just the company. It's actually probably going to be buried in here. Age of Marlborough. I'm probably saying that wrong, but yeah, these are a couple little, I think they're like little cavalry riders, metal ones, metal miniatures. Sold these for $6.50. This is like a separate order compared to like the big one you're about to see. Well, not yet. We're getting there. All right, next up is going to be all these other sales also matter to me. So I think they're all important. Every little dollar counts. Everything builds up. It's nice to have a big sale and a bunch of small ones. That's like my ideal. I don't expect to have big sales, crazy ones every day. That would be ideal, like I said, but like I like to have like some, chunkier sales and then a bunch of smaller sales because it just adds up to being like a good number. All right, French Infantry Waterloo by Airfix. Get a bunch of these like incomplete boxes and stuff. It doesn't matter that they're incomplete. These are 1 out of 72 scale. I actually put the incomplete miniatures in a baggie inside, so when the person gets it, they're not like all shaking around. Yeah, but people like these kind of like cheaper plastic military miniatures. I get them all the time. I sell them all the time. This sold for $15. This was not a complete one. Actually, this might have been complete. I couldn't tell by my listing. So it's either complete and then like open, like they opened it up, but they took them off the screws. But yeah, people like the Airfix. All right, next up is going to be, this one is kind of cool. This is going to be Oracle of Rokos. This is going to be a Mage Knight 2.0 rare figure right here. I got a bunch of Mage Knight 2.0. I actually collect all of the Mage Knight, the first edition, or like 1.0, or just Mage Knight. They were these little miniatures, fantasy miniatures by WizKids. They eventually made some Marvel and DC ones, the HeroClix, and that's kind of the game that sold better for them versus the fantasy. But I have good memories of the fantasy stuff. I just collect anytime I get the first version. I keep it all in a bin now. I like the dungeon set. I like the dungeon pyramid set, which was brought out like a little grid. I also like the castle pieces that you can get. There were some on auction like a year ago, and I didn't have enough to bid it up because I had to bid stuff at the auction to flip, not for myself, but like you can build castles. Really cool miniature game. But yeah, this is something that I thought about keeping the 2.0 stuff when I got, but I realized that I like the 1.0 stuff more. If I happen to get a bunch of 2.0 stuff, I will eventually keep some for myself. The difference between the first edition and the second edition, well, there's a lot of differences, but one of the main ones is they have these little slots here on the side where you would get these punch out cards. They were kind of like, I can't think of like a plastic material. So you might get like a weapon or a sword or a staff, and you click it on or plug it in here on the side. And then they now have like the abilities and stuff. There'd be restrictions of like what characters you can equip with stuff. So that was just something. They also had like mounts, and then the stats changed and they added some other stuff. So I didn't get into Mage Knight 2.0 as much, but the actual miniature sculpts are pretty good. This one sold for $7.99. So yeah, I listed all the Mage Knight 2.0 stuff I got. All right, next up is going to be Tank on Tank West Front right here. This is going to be like a tank miniature game. I got a couple of these incomplete things. This one just was missing the maps, but it still has all the tokens. Let me see if I can show you guys for this. So yeah, people like the military games. This kind of looks like a more simplified Advanced Squad Leader type of game. If you see me sell the Advanced Squad Leader with the little chits and stuff. So yeah, rules, different variants, sheets, player aid cards. Right here, they're not punched out yet, but it's a bunch sheet where you punch out all of the little tanks. So yeah, they're like a bigger size, so you don't have to be like squinting if you have bad eyesight looking at the advanced squad leader stuff. So I think this is the first time I got the tank on tank stuff before, or yeah, I've sold a couple like what, a few weeks ago or something like that. Some more incomplete stuff. $22.39. All right, moving along. I didn't know about this board game until I got the miniatures. These are 18 or so different miniatures for a board game called Lobotomy. It looks like they were a Kickstarter one. That's probably why I wasn't aware of it. I had to look up like what the theme was before filming. It's apparently this cooperative board game where you're playing like a sane asylum, people trying to escape from like an insane asylum or hospital. And it's a co-op game. There's like monsters and nightmare stuff that you like fight. So these are a bunch of different, like there's like an angel, there's like a bestiary, there's like a demon, there's some creepy guys with like pig hats on or masks on and bats, and like you're gonna be playing characters. So I just put all the miniatures together. This is not like a complete set for the board game, but there might be some expansion stuff. You're also supposed to have like cards and stuff, but people just like miniatures in general. They don't have to get the board game. I knew back in the day there would be some people that would just buy board games just for the miniatures. They didn't even care about the board game itself. They just wanted to paint them and use them for various things like role-playing games or just looking at or collecting. A lot of people just enjoy miniatures separate from the board games. These sold for $37.43. All right, next up, this was the big order, and this was for this our best customer. This person keeps coming back for stuff. They bought a lot in the past few weeks. I'm like super thankful for it. This is like I said, the dream situation. You imagine when, or at least I imagined when I first started eBay, to have like when you list a bunch of something, you get like a big combo order. And we gave a good price on all this stuff compared to our asking price or our normal offer price. But yeah, there's like over 40 baggies of these fantastic miniatures. It's unbelievable. They've been buying a bunch. They've been thanking us also for accepting the lower offers. This is a huge combo order. I think there's like 40 or 45. They were paying at different times. They said that they were getting like lag on their end sometimes. So they would see that we accepted 20 offers and then they paid for 20, but then they saw we accepted 10 more and they were paying. So I'm not sure like what was going on with that. They already have bought from us before, so they know we refund all the excess shipping. They don't even need to ask anymore. We just do it anyways, unless if it like slips our mind, which is rare, but we always just do it for all orders anyways. They also got so a lot of fantastic miniatures. What's this one? Lancashire Games right here. So that was like maybe like a store or something. A couple of Essex miniatures right here, or I guess one baggie of that. But yeah, the rest are all these fantastic miniatures. They look like from the Napoleonics era. These were all $310.81. This is kind of crazy because normally it's the first right now. So a lot of people's bills come up, including ours. So this is just like such a good start to our month, because normally the beginning of the month for us might be like one of our lower days of sales. So yeah, this is just like crazy for us. So like we are super thankful for this. Like I said, this is our best customer. What's even crazier is, and then and I were talking, where these fantastic miniatures, I actually did a video like a month ago or so. If you want to go through it and take a look at how many of these things I got, I still have like another probably a couple hundred packets of them all listed. I listed everything, like nothing's sitting in a pile somewhere. I listed all this stuff. So super thankful for that. And I will be selling more of this stuff. And they're not the only one that's been buying the fantastic miniatures. All right, next up is going to be this, which is also a cool sale. It's not crazy money, but the best of Fred Allen right here. This one, Annetta listed when we were doing part-time. I can tell by our background of the picture. So it's just really cool to see one of Annetta's old listings sell. We don't have this one labeled. A lot of our unlabeled stuff before we did the SKU label box system is on like a bookshelf. And we just kind of took our bookshelf at the time and we have it in our storage unit right now. So it kind of has a weird mix of our stuff, some DVDs and stuff. And we have to go through it one day, and I do have to clean it up. But whenever I see an unlabeled item, I'm like, oh, that's in the bookshelf. This is going to be some cassette tapes. It's been a while since I've seen a cassette tape. I don't know. It just kind of gave me good back in the day memories or something. I was still, I'm young enough where there wasn't a bunch of cassette tapes, but there were still some around as they were transitioning to like VHS and eventually like DVD and Blu-ray and stuff like that. So this is just like a radio show that you can listen to. It's like the little audio files. I just thought that was a cool concept. I was like looking at this. I'm like, oh, I hope someone appreciates this. I mean, they bought it, so I'm excited that they're going to appreciate it, not hope. $10.34 for that. I don't know anything about Fred Allen or whoever that is. I'm very bad with like knowing pop culture and celebrities and stuff. I'm really into like my own world of all the nerd stuff. But all right, that's a whole nother discussion. All right, next up is going to be Pokemon Sword and Shield Fusion Strike. This is an Elite Trainer box. It's just a box, so it doesn't have the packs and the tokens and the sleeves. It has a Mew here. Really good art. It just kind of pops. It's kind of like this neon one. I don't know if you see my cat, but she's up here. She really comes up here. How's it going? Hello. Hi. You okay? Okay, I'll give you attention just after the. We're almost done. Come here. Come here. Come on. You can come here. Really? You just want to stay there? No, no, that's not for you. All right. So yeah, people like to use these empty boxes for storing like their kids' cards and stuff. They're good for gift boxes instead of getting like wrapping paper. You can get like one of these boxes. People like to put them on shelves. They like to collect them all. So it's really cool that the packaging for this, which includes stuff, is useful for card game players. That sold for $9. All right, and then last up is going to be this right here. These are the only things I ever got from this. This is Warhammer Warcry. Yeah, Warcry right here. This is like some kind of, I think, dead card game. These are 2 decks. They were complete. This is a deck called Grand Alliance. So these are like starter decks you can get to play the game. And then Hordes of Darkness right over here. This sold as a combo order for $55.98. I must have researched or looked these up, what they were at the time. I can't remember anything about them. There's a lot of Warhammer side products. I do remember there weren't as many up there on eBay, and I got these at auction, but I think these are the only 2 that I got. So like, this is the only time I've ever seen this Warcry type of game. But yeah, people love all sorts of Warhammer lore, the 40K lore, old Warhammer, Lord of the Rings, Warhammer. There's a strategy game. There's a lot of different stuff in this realm, and people do love it. So that was cool that I now know to keep an eye out for this, even though I haven't seen it besides these 2. And I forgot I listed these. These were probably from like a year or 2 ago. $55.98. All right, so that's everything. I hope everyone's having a good end to their week and a good start to the month. Thank you for watching. I got some cool videos coming up on the weekend. Have a good one.